Well, hey folks, and welcome to Solarcabin channel. You're sitting here with me on my porch. It's a nice spring day. I was just listening to the Canadian geese flying by and honking. That's a good sign. And it shows spring's just right around the corner here. I've been outside just kind of puttering around my yard. And this is the section where I take people's questions and do my best to answer them. And I got a couple of good questions here. The first one's from Mike from Palmdale, California. And he asks, what are the most difficult challenges for you for homesteading, such as weather, water table, local laws, regulations, and taxation? Now, I need to tell you a little bit of the history of my moving up to this property. This property was actually, it started out being my granddad's property, and he had about 200 acres up in here. And it was during the period when they allowed homesteading, and he was one of the first homesteaders in this area. And he raised cattle and horses and rode in wagons, and he actually rode for the Pony Express. He helped build the first school. He built the first church. He ran the post office, and he lived in this area and was one of the first homesteaders. So this property started out as actual homestead property. Then when his kids got old enough, he split off pieces of his property to his kids. And my dad, who was one of his kids, got about 25 acres up in this area. With the old homestead. He actually inherited my granddad's old homestead, which I've showed you in some other videos. Then when my parents' kids, me, and my brothers and sisters got old enough, my dad did the same thing. He split us off all a little piece of property. And because he didn't have a very big piece, we only got a little bit less than an acre. All of us got the same size lot. Let that truck go by. And we all got a little bit less than an acre. Now at that time, the county codes were such that you didn't need a building permit to build on your property. You could put any type of house, and my brothers all put small trailer houses and things like that they were living in. And I was younger, and I had a piece of property, but I wasn't ready to live here, and I wanted to go check out big city life. So I moved away for about 20 years. I moved away and lived in the city while I was going to college and raising my family and trying that 9-to-5 rat race to see how I could do it. But then after a divorce and some life-changing decisions, I decided to move back to my property, only to find out that the county had changed the rules and had illegally rezoned our places, making it so that we couldn't build on our places because we didn't have 5 acres. They required 5 acres. They did that illegally. They couldn't do it, but they did it anyway. And so when I moved back here, I found out now I can't build on this piece of property that my father had left me to homestead. So we had a fight. I had a fight with the county, and we ended up having to go around their rules. What we did is, here on this piece of property, I owned that lot down there, just on the other side of that car and that fence right there. And my brother had this piece of property, but my brother wanted the house, the original house that my dad and my granddad built. So we did a little bit of swapping, but what we did is I built my cabin first, while the property was still in his name, as an ancillary building. And you can do that if you have an approved building on a piece of property. Then you can build an ancillary building, which can be used for a small house, guest house, or an off-grid cabin, or whatever you want. A lot of people build their sheds and their buildings for their animals and stuff like that as ancillary buildings. That's in the building codes. So what we did is I built this cabin here first. Then we switched properties, and I traded him my small piece of lot for this piece of lot with the cabin already on it. So basically what we did is we went around the laws, and then when the county come up and said something about it, I said, well, this place is an ancillary building, and it is grandfathered in under state law. Okay, so this place is grandfathered in. So that's how we kind of got around their codes. Now it turns out a few years later, because this area is now a big oil producing and natural gas producing area, now they've changed their rules again, and now they're allowing people on smaller lots. So now you could build on a lot this size and it wouldn't be a problem. But at the time I was trying to do it, yeah, they hassled me. And so that's something you have to be aware of, is sometimes you have to figure out ways to get around the rules. Now in a lot of rural areas, which is where I tell people to look, in a lot of very rural areas, they don't have any building codes for houses. They may require an approved septic tank and an approved water system, but other than that, you can put just about any type of house you want on there. And that's why I design off-grid houses, is for people that want to live in rural areas that don't have to hassle with codes. Now in my area, I had to do some fighting with the government, but I ended up winning in this case, and learned a lot about it, and so I share that information on how to kind of go around codes for people. Now, the other problem you may have is water. Probably the number one problem that a lot of people have is how to get water to their places. You can get a well drilled, and I've talked about water well drilling. You can drill your own well, but it's expensive. You want to find out how much it's going to cost you to get a well on your property. You're going to want to find out how much it costs you to get septic tanks put on your property, or use a composting toilet, which is what I do, because those sorts of things are a real hassle. You can't haul in water, and there are companies that will deliver water to your places, but that's something you want to find out before you get your property as to how you're going to get water on your property. Let's see, some other things. Taxation. In this area, taxes aren't too bad. They base your taxes generally on the size of your house, and any other special features that you put in will increase the value. Since I live in a small cabin, my taxes are actually only about $180 a year. Not very expensive at all. But that all depends on the county and where you're living. It can be a lot more expensive than that. It can even be less expensive than that. I own property down in Texas, which is almost 5 acres, and my taxes are less than $80 a year. I own property over in Arizona and have a little bit over an acre there, and it's about $40 a year for that piece of property. But once you put a building on it, then they appraise it higher, so you have to be aware that taxes are going to be up higher. Now, county taxes generally, that pays for your roads that are built out. It pays for snow removal if you live in an area that has snow. It pays for your libraries in the county. Sometimes it goes towards the schools that are in the area. So I don't mind paying those because it helps with, it stays local. That money stays local, and it helps the local people. So as long as the property taxes are fair, I don't have a problem paying property taxes. Now, my next question is from Jess in Southern California, and she asks, how do you make money via laptop and internet living off-grid? Now, when I first moved up here, I started a small pest control business. I got my license through the state, and I went around and I did residential and commercial pest control, and that's how I supported myself. But while I was doing that, and while I was building the cabin, I also wrote a small booklet, I guess you would call it, an ebook, and some of you still have it. It's called Simple-Solar-Homesteading. It's still available on my website. It's only 78 pages. And I really just did that because I was getting a lot of questions about my place. And so I put it out there so that people would have this information as I was going along, and I was basically educating myself and also helping other people as I went along. Well, that's how my internet business started. And it changed itself into, actually after I got so much interest in the subject, I wrote a 355-page book called Ultimate Off-Grid Guide. And so that's what it progressed into, and that's how I got started on an online business. And what I recommend for people that want to start an online business is to use the skills that you have. If you're an artistic person, a musician, if you make crafts, if you are a writer or photographer, those type of businesses are easy to start on the internet, and there's a lot of interest in them. So you want to start with what you already know how to do, use your skills. Now in my case, I was a professional educator for a lot of years, so I already had a lot of experience in teaching people and also in writing and doing how-to guides and things like that. So I just used my skills and just expanded them with the information that I was gaining as I was going along building my own homestead, and I turned that into a business. Now, one of the things that you want to consider when you buy a piece of land is, are you going to be able to have internet and cell phone connections? Not every place you can get cell phone. However, with the satellite phone service now, you can get satellite phone and you can get satellite internet just about anywhere. If you can get a clear view of the sky where you can get a satellite set up, you can get internet and you can get phone service through the satellite. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can do it. And I do recommend that if you have some interest in starting a business online, it is a good way. I don't think you should expect to be able to support yourself off of an online business. It is more of a secondary income source for most people, not a primary income source. So you want to keep that in mind. You're not probably going to get rich running an online business. But some people do. If you're a very, very good writer, author, then there's an opportunity there. Amazon.com has opportunities for writers. You can go in and produce an ebook, and they'll sell it right on their website. I go through Lulu.com, and I sell through my own website. You will need how to set up a website with your own domain name. You can figure that out just by going on. There's all kinds of resources for how to set up a website and get your domain name and things like that. You'll have to set up a website, get your own domain name, and then the biggest thing you need to do is get yourself noticed. You need to get yourself recognized. So what you want to do is you want to set up a YouTube channel like I did. That's free. And then also set it up with Google AdSense so you can get some money from any advertisements that are placed on your videos. And it just depends on how popular your videos are, but you can make a decent amount of money from the advertisements on videos. Then you want to start making videos of the subjects that you're covering. If you're a crafts person and you make quilts, teach people how to make quilts. If you're a carpenter and you build stuff, teach people how to build stuff and put them on YouTube, okay? And you can also sell your product along with the videos. But use your skills to teach other people is what I'm saying. It is the education that people want. People want to learn how to do it for themselves. That's the whole purpose of homesteading, is we do it for ourselves. So while they may want to buy your product, they also want to learn how to use the skills. And so you want to share those skills. And that's where the real opportunity is for people that want to have an online business, okay, is to teach other people how to do these sorts of things. If you're an adventurer, if you're a fisher person or a hunter, go out and explain how you do those skills to other people in your videos. Put them on YouTube. Then write you an ebook or a book and put it on your website. That's a great way to get started for an online business without a lot of money. And I didn't put in very much money. Now, in order to get yourself known, you need to join other groups that are interested in the same things you are. And when I got started, I joined about 50 different homesteading groups. And I participated. I wasn't there just to sell stuff. I participated in the groups. I answered questions. And at the bottom of my question below my name, I would just put a simple link to my website, so that when people had an interest and wanted more information, they would just click on my link, go to my website, see what I was up to, and that's how I sold my ebooks. Don't be a pushy salesperson online. I hate pushy salespeople. Just put a simple link out there. Give them good information. Really know what you're talking about. If you're not real experienced with a subject, get experience. There's all kinds of information online that you can go and study yourself. Practice hands-on so that you know what you're talking about. Be an educated educator. And share that information, and people will come to your websites and people will come to your videos, and you can make a nice side income. It's especially good if for a couple of people, if one partner has a regular job but another person has an online business that they're running, maybe while they're taking care of their kids or something like that. You'd be surprised. You can make a good amount of income doing that, and that extra money really helps in bad times. If somebody loses a job, you've at least got that side stream income, which I've talked about in other videos. So online businesses are not hard to start. They do take some time. They do take a little bit of money, but not very much. You shouldn't invest a lot of money in an online business. It doesn't cost very much to get a domain name and a website. It doesn't cost anything to get a Yahoo or a YouTube channel. And Amazon, they take a percentage of whatever you sell in the way of ebooks and stuff like that, so you don't have to pay any money up front. Same with lulu.com if you want to go to them, if you're writing books or something like that. If you're a photographer, there's a lot of interest in unique photography books. Maybe you make calendars and you put your photographs into calendars. Those are all opportunities for people. Other businesses that do well online are basically crafts. If you have any type of craft, you can do well. There's Etsy, which is a sales place for people that do crafts. There's bonanza.com. There's always eBay. I'm not real fond of eBay. I did work for eBay. eBay has changed over the years. They got new owners, and now they're not really interested in small businesses and craftsmen and stuff like that. They're only interested in high-priced items. So I don't recommend eBay as a place to start for a homesteader business, but you can look into it. Etsy and Bonanza are probably better places for homesteaders to get a start. All right, so those are some great questions. I hope those answers helped. Please do send me your questions to LaMar5292 at yahoo.com. If it's related to homesteading or off-gridding, I'd be happy to answer it. All right, everybody, have a great day.